This is the Church of St. Paul in the Desert.
If the kids would come on up, and let's see here. Could I have you guys go on down? John, could you bring me a chair, please, rather than a stool? Yeah, it's okay. I'll figure it out. Thanks. Come on in a little closer. If you guys could come over this way a little bit, Lydia, could you guys come on over here a little bit? Okay. Now, usually go ahead. Yeah, that's good. Usually I do this while I'm standing, but I'm going to pray now. May the words of my mouth and the thoughts of our hearts be always acceptable to you, O God, our strength and our helper. Amen. You guys did a great job reading today. Mario, that was a pretty violent lesson, wasn't it? Yeah. And the gospel was pretty violent too, wasn't it? What was violent in the gospel today? Let me wait, Mario. Anybody have an idea of what was really violent? How about Mario, what was violent in your lesson?
In my lesson, it said, let's kill the tree and its fruit.
Yeah, they wanted to kill him, the tree and its fruit. They wanted to wipe him out, right? And in the gospel, what was violent in the gospel? Who is going to be killed in the gospel? Or who does it talk about, a prediction about being killed? Nope. Yours was Jeremiah. In the gospel, who was it? Nope. Jesus. So it's about Jesus. Now, have you ever been a part of a club? Have you ever been? I know the granddaughters are part of Campfire Girls or Daisies? Girl Scouts. Girl Scouts, right? And the boys perhaps are involved with some other group or maybe on a team, right? What are you involved in?
I used to be in Boy Scouts, but then I didn't want to be there.
Okay, you didn't want to be there anymore. Well, one of the things is that when we're trying to get people to join something, when we get people to be excited about it, we want to make it sound like it's the greatest thing ever, right? We want to... Yeah, an advertisement. We want to advertise the really best parts about it, don't we? But in the gospel today, Jesus is telling his students the worst parts. I'm going to be arrested by the police. I'm going to be killed. And on the third day, rise again. Do you know what that means? What? He'll rise from the dead again, yeah. Well, you're ahead of the disciples because the disciples didn't know what Jesus was talking about. They were kind of freaked out because he was continuing to talk about bad news. He was continuing to talk about being treated with violence. And they were wondering, what have we got ourselves into? Why are we here with him? And so when he was at a house with them, they were talking, and he asked, what were you arguing about? They were arguing about who's the greatest, who's the best. In your school, do you know who's, in your class, do you know who's the best? Do you have an idea of who's the best? Okay, Olivia? Your friend Grace, she's one of the best? Okay. Is there somebody who's stronger or answers more questions right than somebody else? Grace is the only one that answers questions in your class. Okay. Mario?
I have a friend in class.
Uh-huh.
She gets answer like
She gets answers really quick, so she's pretty good, right?
Yeah, she's real good.
Okay.
She got 100% on this test, and everyone got 50s or 70s.
Uh-huh.
She got 95.
So his friend, everybody else in class is getting 50% on the quizzes. She's getting 95 or 100. She's the best. Okay. Okay. He works very fast. Now, do you know somebody who runs faster than you? I just want a yes or no. Do you know somebody who runs faster than you?
I can run faster.
Okay. Do you know anybody who is stronger than you? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. The disciples were trying to figure out which of them was the best. Now, it wasn't really about being strongest. It wasn't really about being fastest. It was about who was going to be in charge. And Jesus said, you're looking at it wrong. He says, you should not be looking at it from who does things better than everybody else, but who serves people, who cares for people, who helps people more. And then he did something. He took a little child, and he grabbed the little child. I don't think he grabbed the little child. He gently moved the little child into the center of the group and said, if you want to be a leader, you need to be like this little child. Because the ones who are going to be, if they want to be first, they need to be the least and the littlest. So do you know what he was talking about with children? Children need, particularly real little children. Do you remember when you had a little sister or brother and they were very, very little, or when you saw a very little friend? Do you remember that? They couldn't do much for themselves, could they? Could they go sit at the table and eat? No. Could they even get up and go to the bathroom by themselves? No. So they needed all sorts of help, didn't they? And they needed somebody to protect them too, didn't they? You probably need somebody to protect you some too, don't you? Okay? Well, Jesus was telling his disciples that they had to be like that. And I've got something I want to show you. And the idea is, do you know what one of the biggest birds in the world is? What's it called? The vulture, yes. Vulture is. And Olivia, another big one? Golden eagle?
The bald eagle?
Bald eagle. I don't know which one is bigger than that. But the one I'm looking for is the condor. Here in California has a condor that's just huge, right? But there's another bird that I'm thinking about, and this is its nest. You can come up and look at it if you want. Now, this is and you girls don't say anything about it because you know already. This is from a hummingbird. And a hummingbird is one of the littlest birds, isn't it? And it's tiny and it's vulnerable. And this hummingbird, there's an egg inside here. If you look in here, you can see there's an egg inside. Right. And so this hummingbird built its nest right in front of our house on our Christmas lights. So I could not put my Christmas lights away because this bird's nest was there, and it was very fragile, and I had to be very gentle with it. And mainly I was lazy because I didn't want to put my Christmas lights away. And so this is really the opposite of the condor, isn't it? Yes, it's kind of, it is getting early for Christmas lights, yes. This is the opposite. Jesus asks us to, instead of thinking about being the toughest, meanest, strongest, he wants us to go the other way. He wants us to take care of people, not to try to be better than people. And so the gospel today is about Jesus asking us to be somebody that is looking to care for others and is willing to let others care for us. Okay? Everybody get to see the bird's nest and the egg? Adults, you can see it after church if you want. Okay.
Is there eggs in there?
There is one egg in there.
No, I mean baked eggs.
No. There's no baked eggs in here. All right. Thank you, kids. You can head on.
Is there a bird in there?
Well, no, there's just an egg. It did not hatch.
No bird in there, but it didn't hatch?
That's correct. You guys can go on back to your seats now. Thank you.